Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to Beginner Music Theory video number 12. In this video, we're going to talk about the minor scale and its variations. So we're going to talk about natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. Okay, so natural minor is just built from the sixth scale degree of a major key or major scale. You start from 6, go up an octave, back down. You got natural minor. Then all your chords are the exact same as they were in the major key, the parallel, or not parallel, the relative major of that, only you're starting from the 6th chord, which is a minor chord, and then you go up from there. So your 2 chord is now the diminished, and your 3 chords the major, so on and so forth. This is pretty simple in that way. Now let's look at harmonic minor. What do you got there? It's the exact same thing as the natural minor, only this 7 is a half step higher. And you get that kind of, Middle Eastern vibe there, up at the top. Well, the reason for that raised 7 is then you have a leading tone back to home, which we know from major keys that big ol' move to home is accomplished through the leading tone. So in that case, put the diminished, takes you home, or that big ol' dominant chord to home. Well, in a minor, natural minor, you don't have that. So in order to get it, you use harmonic minor, and you get all those things back, but you're still in a minor key. So it gives you a chance to have a diminished 7 chord. I'm just bending it into the 1. And it also gives you the opportunity to have a major 5 chord that will take you home, giving you that dominant, right? So that's what harmonic minor gets you. Also, that raised 7 gets you an augmented chord at the 3 position, which is cool. And also gives you a chance to do this weird and harmonic augmented chord out of the 1 chord. So you think about it, there's your 1 chord, in this case it's an A minor chord. What happens if you just drop that root down to the raised 7? You end up with the sound, right, of an augmented chord, and then you can pass by it to the 7 chord that would have been there in the natural minor if you want to use natural minor and harmonic minor kind of in the same piece of music. Now, notice they said that's enharmonic. Those 2 notes never moved, but you're throwing a G sharp on top of them. So in written music, you're seeing a G sharp, a C, and an E, and your brain's not telling you, that that's a chord, but sonically, you're hearing an augmented chord, and on the guitar you can clearly see like that's an augmented chord, but in written music you're going to see a G sharp instead of an A flat. So you've got a C E. Your brain tells you A of some flavor to C E gives me my chord, but I've got a G sharp there. That's the way that goes, and that's it's not a big deal. Who cares? It sounds awesome, so you can use it. But because that 7th is raised, your 3 chord was this. Now it's augmented. And you can do a lot of cool stuff with that. Now let's talk about melodic minor. This one's interesting. So the first 3 notes are the same. First 4 actually. First 5 actually. But then the 6th is raised along with the 7, but then when you descend, you you put everything back. You put all the toys back in the toy box on your way back down with melodic. That's weird, right? You would not do that. So that's pretty cool. You ascend a certain way and descend another. Well, you may be wondering, why would you ascend a certain way but then descend another? Well, for voice leading, to get back to one, because that's generally the goal, is to get back to one. Well, if you're leading up to it, the end of a major scale, which is what the upper half of the melodic minor is when you're ascending, is you're just switching gears. The first string here, you're thinking of it like minor, and then from there, just play it like it's a major scale on the way up. And then on the way down, you go back to minor. So that's really what you're doing, is you're faking being in major, which will give you that strong push back to home, and then you continue on from there. And I would argue that using melodic minor is going to make the minor sections of your song sound stronger because you removed yourself briefly. And just playing the scale, you can hear that on your way back down, it has more impact. You feel like you went harder into the minor stuff because of the way you left from melodic minor and kind of went major for a second. And then that also alters some of your chords. So your sixth chord should be a major chord, but now you raise the sixth. So now you got a diminished sixth. That's pretty cool. Same with your seven, just like harmonic minor, you raise that, and now you've got a diminished. So depending on the chord progression you're going for, you could really push up into that one, because you can hear how bad, sorry I played a major chord at the end there, I should have played the minor. You can kind of hear how bad it wants to ascend to one. And that's what happens when you make those adjustments. You end up with cool stuff like that. And so then, just looking at the rest of the chords, if you're looking at the ascending portion, normally in, regular natural minor, you have 3 chords of major. You raise the 7th, we discussed this, you end up with this augmented chord. What happens when you raise the 6th? Well, the 2 chord is normally diminished, but now you raise the 6th, and now you've got a minor chord for your 2 chord. And you get some I played that like crap, but you get some weird stuff going on where now all of a sudden you've got the 1 chord's minor, 2 chords minor, 3 chord augmented, 4 chord minor. And that's pretty cool. It's fun to do. You get a lot of stuff out of that. So that's the 3 variations of the minor, scale, key, if you will, and what you gain from it and what it can do for you. Now, most composers from music I've seen and things I've experienced blend all 3. It's pretty rare for a composer to just hang out in natural minor and never throw the dominant chord in there. It's pretty weird that somebody would do that. And then, so a lot of times a piece of music that's minor, you are bound to see, some sharps or naturals if you're going from a flat to, up a half a step. It's generally the 7, but that melodic minor can't be forgotten that once in a while that 6 is going to be raised too. But you're rarely going to see a piece of music that's just strictly by the book in melodic minor. That would be real weird. And it would get to a point where it's just too predictable and you'd get tired of hearing it played that way. So it's best to think of all three interchangeably kind of working together to make a piece of music. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. You're going to do awesome.